Someone was asking how much you talk about Kody outside of the show. Like, do you guys talk about Kody all the time, or is it just in the show, like just for the show?
We talk about Kody in the show because there's always like questions about him and things like that. But our day to day life, no. The only thing I wish he was there for is like the only thing we talk about is we just wish that he was there for my kids, there for our kids, and so that's what's hard. But no, I don't, Kody.
No, we don't talk about him. Only when it comes to the set.
Yeah, the set. Yeah.
Hey, besties. Christine Woolley and her husband were on a live stream with David's daughter, Katie, over on her TikTok. Katie has posted a couple of these lives into her stream, and what she has shared is kind of funny. She's interviewing them in part like she's a content creator or a journalist, and then they are answering the questions like they're on the receiving end of an interview. So that's kind of cute. And Katie asked Christine and David if in their real life, whether or not they actually talk about Kody. And they said no, that they never talk about Kody. And then they only talk about Kody when they're on set. I always think it's funny that they sell us a reality show like it's about their real life. And then they call their job their set, because that would mean moving is the set and their house is the set. There's the set that they sit at when they're asked questions by the producers. There's the set when they go to the tell-alls, obviously. But I guess they don't like it. Christine actually said she hates it, and actually got upset at the tell-all because of what they asked her about Kody and how she was furious about it. This follows Kody making statements to the press while he was on the press junket for Special Forces, where he basically called sister wives a negative experience, and that this experience on Special Forces was life affirming, and there's too much trash talking and negativity on the sister wives. And I'm like, okay, so if Christine hates it and Kody hates it, why are we here? Check it out.
Do you guys ever get sick of talking about him on the set, or is it just kind of what's coming?
Oh, I do. No, I get angry. Last year at the tell-all, I was furious because there was all these questions about your life with Kody and blah blah blah, and they asked me about his hair and his sweat and all this stuff. I'm all, so I'm married. I don't know if you know I'm married. I don't think about him and I don't talk about him. But yeah, no, last year on the tell-all, I was furious. I called David. I'm like, all they wanted to talk about was my relationship with Kody and what went wrong and all that. I'm like, I'm so over it because I don't go into that world. It's not, I don't exist.
I have questions here about this because she just wrote a book, a memoir that is, where the entire memoir is really about her life with Kody. I mean, not all of it, but there's growing up in polygamy, then getting married, then becoming a sister wife, having kids, Robin coming into the family. I mean, that is her bestseller right now, a New York Times bestseller that came out a month and a week ago, is all about Kody and her life with Kody and divulging her life with Kody. And I guess I understand it to a point because she wrote that a while ago. She wrote it more than a year ago, obviously. She wrote it on her terms, obviously. She wrote it from her perspective. She wasn't forced to answer questions, and she shared what she felt comfortable sharing. She didn't have to go outside of her comfortable zone. And there are definitely times, even in the most recent tell-all, where it just felt weird how much Suki was pushing them to have a get together and hang out and do something and come together as a family and be friends again. Because I kind of feel like that's the arc that TLC wants. Like, they want it to be like, we need to get you guys back together so it's a cohesive family, so people actually want to watch the show instead of having all these different crews going to all these different places. And you have to understand now that they're not making as much money as you would think because of the expense of creating the show now. So if you know anything about reality television, time is money, and so are crews. And so crews, if they are using the same crew, are having to travel. So instead of crews all going and being in one city now in Flagstaff. They have to have a crew that goes to Flagstaff to film there. They have to have a crew that goes to Lehigh and Salt Lake City to film Christine. They have to have a crew now that goes to North Carolina to film Janelle. That's a lot of traveling, by the way. Now, Figure Eight Films, who produces Sister Wives, is located in North Carolina, so it's probably easier for them to be there. But the fact that they have to have all of the crew traveling, going from place to place, having different sets created for the sit downs, it is more expensive. So I get it that she's upset, but at the same time, she's on the show still. They're still filming. Beyond this season, none of them actually needed to sign on. I'm pretty certain that season 20 was the last of the contract. And so if there is a season 21 that happens, that means they signed new contracts. And given the fact that most of my videos on Sister Wives don't perform the way that they used to, I would assume that means the people that are watching the show are not as invested. Sister Wives ratings are plummeting. I mean, there's going to be a bottom here at some point. And it's evident in the fact that I don't get the kind of views on my videos anymore. And again, I don't really care how many video views I get on Sister Wives. I don't cover it because it's popular or not popular. I cover it because I want to talk about polygamy. And okay, December 11th of 2022, this is the tell-all that is where Christine is talking about how she and Kody are now divorced. And the family is, for all intents and purposes, beginning to completely fall apart. This is before we find out that Janelle has left. It is before we find out that Mary has left. All right. This is the Christine has just left episodes. That was 2.1 million people tuned in for that episode. When the season came back in the fall, the season premiered of season 18, which premiered in August 20th of 23. The season premiered with 1.741 million people. It's a pretty good bucket. That was huge at the time for TLC. Season finale, 1.7 million. Okay. So then we get to the season premiere of season 19, which is Now Everyone is Leaving, right? So this is Janelle and the big fight happen. Mary's now leaving. So season 19, what we just finished, 937,000 people tuned in for season 19's first episode. The highest views that we got the entire season came on November 24th of 2024, and 1.2 million people tuned in for that. And then since then, it's been just progressively going down, down, down. Okay. When the series came back after a hiatus for the second half of season 19 in April, only 842,000 people tuned in. Okay. The tell-alls, which were huge and used to be huge when they started in June, only 1 million tuned in. And then we get to this season, when the first episode airs of season 20. Only 877,000 people tune in for the season premiere. They lose 17,000 people for the next week, which was last week, of 860,000. This means they have lost, you're talking about a loss of 1.3 million people in the span of 3 years. You're talking about every season that continues, the audience keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. People came back to watch the women leave, and now people are tuning out because they don't know why they're here. And those that remain are the ones that are like, what is going on here? Why are we still here? And then you've got the cast saying, why are we still here? I hate being here. And given what is on tap for this next week's episode, it's going to be Kody and Robin pretending like they need to buy a new house because they want a fresh start, but it's really just a way for them to get their toxic dump that they're buying so that they can screw Christine out of money for child support. We're going to see the move of Mykelti and Tony, who were on a Patreon last night, and Mykelti had lost her voice and she couldn't really talk. And she was watching her mom talk about why she moved. And she further elaborated that The reason for her ever moving from St. George to Lehigh was for the purpose of getting her mom to realize that she could move back to Utah and that there was a way to get away from her dad and that she could get out of polygamy. So Tony and her found a place in Lehigh so they could be close to Christine to give her a sense of stability and get her acclimated into her new life. And McKelty describes that time period and that transition as a time where she felt like she was Christine's mom and a parent and not a daughter. And that she felt like all of her life was being invested into her mom, getting her mom stable, but it was coming at the detriment of her marriage. She and Tony started having problems. She ends up not being the best mom for the kids. And they make the decision that they're going to move because she needs to get away from it because she realizes mom finds David, everything's fine. She doesn't need a mom anymore. I can go on with my life and have my own time by myself and do my thing with my family. So Christine gets settled, meets David. Now she's with David and they're cute, they're cute. They're doing these little videos with David's daughter.
Morning, we had a little fight.
Oh yeah.
Because we're sitting there doing Legos this morning, and I said, I'm going to go get a shower. And as soon as I said that, I went, oh, crap, she's going to try to beat me after the shower.
Yeah.
So I started going towards the door, and all of a sudden she tried to sneak past me. Boom, I got her. And then I did this roll over on top of her and got up.
Me down twice.
Yeah, I did.
That's really inappropriate to talk about on here.
Well, so usually, like when he says I need to go shower, I wait patiently until he starts to go, and then I hurry and run past him.
Yeah.
And he's tried to catch me many times. One time I turned on the shower and it definitely pushed me and it got me completely wet in my clothing. And so I always try to beat him. So this morning he's like, I'm going to go take a shower, but I had to finish doing my Lego wall. And he goes, well, that's kind of disappointing as he's over there. And then he opens the door to go downstairs and kind of meanders there a little bit. An obvious invitation for me to run past him. So I tried.
Obvious.
But the real reason why we want to beat each other to the shower so that last person doesn't have to squeegee.
It was golden. It was like, I think it cemented you guys together. Even though every night it's a, good night, David. And he's like, good night.
This is our hug.
That's so truly.
Dad, you've always been a really good girl dad. Like, you've always been really good at seeing our emotions and understanding our emotions and, like, being there.
Guys have strong emotions. Very, very passionate.
I say guys are stronger than more emotional than women are, and they say bullshit. And I said, no, that's not true.
No, you've just been told to shove it down your whole life. You don't know how, like, you've never been allowed to feel them.
Yeah.
We have a lot of emotions. And it's not always good emotions. It turns out into anger. And it turns into...
Mad comes with a friend. Henry told you, Grandpa, mad comes with a friend.
Yeah, so
there you go. They fight about their shower and not having to squeegee. And David is a spry one. That dude is over 60 and he's chasing her around and knocking her down and rolling around so that he wins and then pushing her into the shower so she gets wet. Sounds like they're teenagers, like when you have a boyfriend and you're playful and you like wrestle and stuff. And then she talked about Truly and David's relationship, which apparently has good days and bad days. Truly and her are still, dealing with what it's like to live with a guy full time. And David spoke about how men have a lot of emotions and sometimes those emotions get bottled up and taken out in anger, which, yeah. Lots of guys deal with rage. Lots of guys deal with anger. Normal. It's part of that, I think, whole testosterone thing. So that's the tea. Christine hates when she has to talk about Kody. They fight about the shower and squeegeeing the shower. They build Legos together, which is kind of awesome. I'm a huge Lego fan. Just was at Walmart like a couple weeks ago and I ended up buying a Jurassic World set because I wanted to build Legos and my son was the recipient of it. And even though it was expensive, I was like, I want to build Legos and you're going to get a gift even though it's not even your birthday. So yeah. Anyway, I understand. Legos are a thing. I love them. They're great. So what are your thoughts? Do you think this show is eventually going to bottom out? I mean, ratings overall for TLC have been plummeting. Cable as a whole has been dealing with a lot of, ratings issues as everyone moves to streaming. And maybe this is why Kody was trying to, be such a bad guy on Special Forces. Dude, last night's episode was so bad. Kody is such not a team player. He was in a group with 2 other women, basically ignored them the whole time, had no concern for them, was there you're supposed to be a team and he's only thinking about himself. Yeah, what a mess. So what are your thoughts? Tell me in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, best.